It's 8 o'clock.
Greetings. Welcome to another week of Master Force with Shemsu-t. I'm so thankful that you are joining us for this Thankful Thursday. And this Thursday, we have a wonderful show for you. We're going to be talking about the grounding ourselves in the principles of wealth. So I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you're going to hear such great information from my mentor, Dr. Asar Hapi. So before we get started, let us go ahead and welcome everybody in to the Female Solution.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Yes, yes, we are sharing our love and our knowledge this morning. I don't know if anybody realizes that we're in the full moon of Taurus right now, and this energy is so nurturing for us. It's nurturing for our persons, it's nurturing for our relationships, and it's nurturing for our passion in life. Right now, people are struggling with a lot of financial issues, and we keep thinking that is separate from our spiritual well being. So, I've invited one of my favorite people in the world who also happens to be my mentor. And he's going to share with us the amazing principles of wealth, but they're entitled Principles of Solomon. Let me bring to the stage my wonderful mentor, Dr. Asar Hapi. Dr. Happy, how are you today?
Greetings, Moot.
Greetings.
Excellent.
Thank you
How's
so
one?
much. Everything is good. I just love that you make yourself available for these opportunities so that the people in our community can get to know you and actually vibe with you. You have been amazing in my life, and I would love for everyone to know what you do and how you're doing in life, right? Can you hear me okay?
Right. I
Can,
can. Can you hear me
wonderful.
fine?
Yes, I can. Now, what I would like to do before we actually get into the topic, I would like for you to introduce yourself so that people can get an idea of what you're bringing to the table. Can you do that for us, Dr. Hoppy? Give a
I
short bite.
can.
Okay, thank you.
Very, very short. I'll try to keep it as short as possible.
Okay.
Um, I I came into my career when I was 20 years old. I was diagnosed with a condition called sarcoidosis that was an incurable disease that could have taken my life. And this particular disease took the life of Bernie Mac. Most of you all have heard of him. He was a very famous comedian. So this inspired me to go and learn about how the body can heal and how the body works. And I went to school and I went through my first schooling, which was the College of Naturopathy, which is a national college here in America. And it taught me the basic sciences of health as well as the nutritional sciences of holistic health, as well as the learning of touch, in which we learn how to work on the body so that the different problems that the body have can be alleviated. From there, I went on to chiropractic school where I received another PhD. And in that, we learned more about the bones and the spine and the nerves. And with the first school, we learned about that also because a chiropractor had developed our science of naturopathic, which was a science that was primarily developed in Europe, and it was called napravet, which meant to fix pathology. And that particular chiropractor in the 1930s, he developed our system. And our system was more of a system where we dealt with connective tissue damage in the spine and in the limbs. And we worked with the nervous system just like the chiropractor. But our treatment was much more therapeutic as well as much more comprehensive. It was more of a healing system and healing sessions that would bring the body to a very wonderful state of comfortable and improved health. And that I did for a series of years, as well as the chiropractic. And then I was introduced to a healer out of Tucson. And this particular healer, he was a healer who dealt with needleless acupuncture. His system was called the International Institute of Applied Physiology. And it was a system where you learn how to test muscles. You relate the muscles to organs, and you relate organs to systems. And it correlated with acupuncture. And there was a system where we use a needle called the needleless needle. And this took the place of inserting needles into the body. And this particular system, in 2 minutes, you could get the results of perhaps 5 to 10 acupuncture treatments in 2 minutes. And so we applied that particular system for years, particularly with our elders. We brought them off their canes, we brought them out of their wheelchairs, and we also brought them off of their paralyzed beds. We also have brought them back from congestive heart failure. And so in our work that we do, we have been blessed to understand the powers of the breath, in which that is another system that I mastered as a Grand Master of the Kemetic Yoga system, which has been over 53 years in which I've taught that, and also was in the research of that to develop us into understanding the powers of the breath and how the breath could be a regenerating force that could bring all of us a younger state of super well-being, of vitality and wellness. And in that particular system, I focus on primarily the keys to it. And in this period of 53 years, I now have the blueprint to how the breath works and how it can rejuvenate us and our elders to greater years of youthfulness that we all deserve to have. So now I am in the state of teaching that. I have a few students, but I look forward to now expand my knowledge to those globally, but particularly to those that are in the despair of the states of the United States. And so particularly Chicago, since that's where my temple is, the Shrine of Hapi. And in these shrines, we focus on teaching all the secrets that the ancestors walked with, all of these secrets that made them great and made them genius and made their society the society of societies. Their society is the greatest society that ever was and ever will be. And the knowledge that they had on the walls of the pyramid, that knowledge has now come off. That knowledge is in our temples and raising our people up to be superheroes and sheroes of themselves. Now, as I have stated, the last system that I learned was the acupuncture itself. And in that system, I got another degree, but we learned how to use the needles. And we were working with people who had AIDS back in the day when the AIDS first came on the set. And so we were doing treatments at Cook County Hospital. We were treating the patients. That's where they were being treated for AIDS back at the beginning before they created a building for that particular population. And so we would see on Wednesday and Friday, we would go there and we would do treatment. So these are the different systems that I have mastered. And these systems, when I combine them together, it is a powerful, powerful system in the healing of our people. So that's kind of a basic short description of my background
You
system.
did really, really well, Dr. Hoppy. And you didn't mention the Swiss shards, though. You didn't mention the garden. Tell us a little bit about the master gardener, because we've also been blessed with some of your knowledge in that area. There was a time when we were working to build out gardens in Chicago. So, how does gardening actually tie into all of your healing principles?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Sister Moon. The understanding of gardening is actually the understanding of organic medicine. One has to look at food as medicine. And if you look at food as medicine in its organic state, that God has put everything in the food, and the food gives us healing if it comes close from God. The garden is the closest you can get to God. And in this garden, the food is so vital. Our garden is so beautiful. The food is so vital. You don't even want to pick the food but we pray on the food when we're growing it. We say, "Food, we must eat you." So grow great. We pray, God, let the food grow great. Let the food know we must eat them so that they can give us greater life. And so the garden is our closest access to God. And so in the garden, one has moments of meditation. In the garden, one has moments of relaxation. In the garden, one has moment of exercise. In the garden, one has the ability to strengthen themselves with the soil that they lift up and move around. And in the garden, one sees the manifestation of God. One sees the growing of these seedlings that then become strong. Our Swiss chard, Moot, our Swiss chard is the delight of delights. Our Swiss chard is so delicious. The leaves, if you see one of our leaves might be 2.5 to 3 feet tall. One
Bigger than
leaves
my new
become,
grandbaby. Yes,
I'm
yes.
not trying, that's right. I'm not trying to be violent. I'm not trying to be violent. But one of those leaves is a whip. The grandbabies would see that, and you just swish it on your arm, and the grandbaby say, "Grandma, don't beat me with that." This Swiss chard is so good. It's so delicious. And so we
Yeah.
give the Swiss chard to our patients when they come to see us. We send them home with a bag of the Swiss chard and the tomatoes and the okra. And also we give them some, we have the celery, we have the celery.
Yeah.
So divine. So next time we must show a picture of the
We
garden
must show pretty.
that
Yeah,
we have
absolutely.
here at the
Yes.
temple. We must
We'll
show
do
the
that the
people
next
what a
time.
garden really is supposed to look like when it is in its most vital state. 11 beds we have, and the 11
Right,
beds is a very nice spread when you look at it,
right.
full of nourishment in its abundance.
Naima says, "Greetings, Dr. Hapi. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. I can testify your methods work. You are still as vibrant as ever." Wonderful. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Naima.
my goddess. That's
Yeah,
Naima. Thank you, my
yeah.
goddess.
And then Higher Learning says, "Looking forward to an awesome show with you, Dr. Happy, with you and Dr. Happy." Wonderful. So now, Dr. Happy, I want us to go ahead and talk about what it is that you're going to be sharing today. So I'm going to let you go ahead and get into. I didn't want to take myself out. Okay, there we go. All right. So now we want to go ahead, Dr. Happy, and get into the principles of Solomon. So, are you back with us yet?
I am. I'm right here.
Okay. So you want to go ahead
Yes.
and get into the
Yes,
principles of
I do.
Solomon? Yes.
Okay. So when we look at wealth, we must look at some understandings of what creates wealth. The question may have not crossed our path. The question may not have been a question in our circles. A question may not have been a question in our families. We all have these family reunions. And in these family reunions, they're so festive. We eat, we drink, we be merry, we be happy. We have such a wonderful fellowship. But this question of where does wealth come from and how do we create it so that our family can have a greater future where the future is maybe perhaps not lined with gold but lined with comfort, because the wealth, it brings us comfort, it brings us convenience, it brings us the ability to not toil so hard, to not be so stressed in life, because that stress then brings illness, and then the illness then take us into the need for more wealth so we can get out of the illness, but we don't have no money. So it creates a vicious cycle for us in our health. So the principles of Solomon became a concern of myself as I saw deprivation and poverty coming upon us even greater, particularly in these last of years that now we see that Trump is in office. We see that prosperity is trying to be taken away from us, the DEI being taken away, and the even now we talk about the Medicaid and the link card, the SNAP card for food, the basic to survival, we see that that could be on our forefront, on our front door steps. So do we need to know some principles of Solomon right through here? Well, I think we do, because in
Yes.
these principles of Solomon, we will be able to fortify ourselves so that as the deprivation of the decline in the and the the delay of our ability to survive is taken away from us, we bounce on the other side, and we soar like eagles from the knowledge that we can have from these principles that I want to share with you this morning. So the principle of Solomon, it basically starts with that Solomon was a wise man, and he had a society of people that he had to be responsible for. So he taught them this first principle that we all need to know, that we may have never been taught. But if we have not utilized. And if we had utilized, we would sit in a level of comfort knowing that there is some resources around us to allow our life not to be torn through the turbulence of the social effects that political decisions can be made upon us in our well-being. And so these principles of Solomon, they start like this. Solomon said that there will be a famine. There will be a famine every 7 years. There will be a famine. And this famine will make it very hard upon the people to survive. And this famine was brought about through the weather. So in 7 years, there would be a drought. And in this drought, there would be a lack of food. There would be a lack of wheat. And because there was a lack of wheat, the cost of wheat would be higher, like we are in today's time when we talk about inflation. And just the other day, in these last couple of days, they talked about the political ramifications of that, and that the politicians, the Democrats who were talking about the economy, they were the ones who won. So we go through the economy through all of our generations, but back here in Solomon's time, the economy was that when the famine came, we need more money. We need more money because the wheat was going to cost more, because there were going to be a shortage of the wheat. Well, that was inflation then, as food costs now is inflation. And so Solomon said to his people, he said, now, this is how we will deal with this future dilemma in 7 years when the famine comes. We want everyone, every family, to take 10%. 10% of all the wealth that comes through your hands, we want you to take that 10%. We want you to put it to the side. We want you to put it to the side as an emergency. The 7 years of the famine, in 7 years, you will have adequate funds to be able to handle the increase of the cost of the wheat. So 7 years came and gone. The famine came, the wheat was short, and all of Solomon's people had that extra 7 years of resources. So when the cost of the wheat was higher, they all could afford it. The the change, the change in their lifestyle did not change. The desperation in their hearts and minds did not come to them because they had prepared well. So this preparation is something that we must do as we see what's on our doorsteps now, with the decline and with the separation, the subtraction of the prosperity, the little prosperity that we had, the subtraction of that. And so we must rise to this other side and understanding this prosperity, because wealth is only prosperity when you have put it to work through principles, starting with this first principle of Solomon. So all of Solomon's people was fine, and all of Solomon's people, they thrived through the years because they kept this particular principle.
Now, Doc, let's talk about that. 10%, it's a mentality, isn't it?
It is a mentality because, Moot, the 10% is just a starting point. What we say is that wealth is a manifestation. It's a manifestation of these principles when you apply them with tools and you apply them with vehicles, and you soar on the wings of the eagle in understanding the economic way that we grow into prosperity. The economic way is we must first start with the seed. The 10% is the seed, Moot. If we don't have a seed, how can you grow the vegetables in the garden? How can you create abundance if you don't have a seed? So the 10% is only a seed. And what can a seed grow? What can it soar? One seed can grow a whole oak tree, and from the oak tree you have many oaks, and from
Yeah.
many oaks you have many trees, and from many trees you have a forest. And so
Yeah.
from a forest you have an Amazon ecology. That is the prosperity of wellness that I see in its metaphor as it relates to our well being financially. It has to move to the level of the word prosperity. And how do we generate that? And that is the first principle.
Well,
Seed, eating the seed.
planting the seed. And I think in our community, when we think about 10%, we think we're taking something away from ourselves, right? Like, I need that 10%, but actually we have to look at that 10% as as though it's not there. We just put it aside and it's just not there, and we let that build. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. What we have to see is we have to see the understanding of the squirrel. The squirrel in the fall, he gets the acorns. He
Mhm.
gathers the acorns and he hides them for the winter to come and for the spring to come. He hides these acorns. Now, the acorns came from the oak tree. And through the winter, he has food. That's how we have to see the 10%. We have to see it as we must gather because we must move through these seasons, the seasons of our life. We must move through them with planning and execution on these principles. Life, when we plan it, like you plan a garden, now the food can show up in the fall because you dropped the seed. So the food here is the prosperity that we need. So when there's a cost for something, our children do not have to despair. Our children do not have to not have. So we have been in the land of the have not. We must move into the land of the have. And the land of the have is where King Solomon was with his people. So now it's time for us to return to that. And only those of us who have the eyes to see, and I do not speak of the two eyes, I speak of the third eye of the wise mind that Solomon walked with. When we activate, and open that eye, we will then give the vision of the plan and execute it and watch it manifest in the magic of prosperity, moving
So,
through our
so
families, community.
yes. So Doc, I got to be mindful because we don't have our 2 hour show. We have our 1 hour show,
Oh,
and I want
okay,
to get
Lord.
this.
Okay, Lord.
So
Let's move
now we
forward.
have that first one. We have our 10%. And now we're going to have our 10% and we put it away and we're not going to bother it. We're going to set it up and leave it, and it's just going to be there to grow. Now,
Well,
after that,
well, well,
what
well,
is the
well,
next principle?
well,
Yeah.
we can't just leave it, Moot. It's a
We can't
seed.
just leave it. No,
Can't just
no,
leave it.
it's going to grow, right?
Well, but again, we have to
Yeah.
know how to grow it. See, this
Okay.
is the watering. See,
This
first
is
you have to have the
water.
seed, then you
Mhm,
have to come with the watering.
mhm.
So we have to share the watering principles with our people so that when the sudden wealth come, they understood how it came. They understood how to manifest it and to keep manifesting it from now on.
Okay, so we're going to, is that where we're going to bring in now? Let's see. Can you hear me, Doc?
I can. I can
Okay,
hear
so
you. Can you hear me?
yes. So now, are the watering? Are we okay? Divine rising. Thank you for giving the survive and elevation tools. That's right. So now, one of the first tools, the watering tools we talk about, then is that going to be gratitude, Doc, for the
That's
watering?
that's one of them. That's one of them. That's one.
Okay.
So let's speak on that. Let's speak on that for a second because what we have what we have is that gratitude is an action. It's an action. And if we don't do this action, we can't show we have gratitude. And if we can't show we have gratitude, we cannot get favor. It's favor that gives us prosperity. Favor. And favor is something we never even talk about as it relates to gratitude. So gratitude is an action, and this action starts with something we do. So let's say, Moot, let's say you were stranded on the side of the road. And while you were stranded, there was this man, he was begging. He was begging you for a handout. And you said, I'm not giving no money to that beggar. He's just one of these hustlers on the street trying to hustle my dollars out of my pocket. And I know he go home with a pocket full of money, and and I'm not gonna get played. Okay. So now this particular night it's raining and your wiper is broke on your car. Your wiper is broke. And there's a great chance on the expressway you might have an accident because your wiper is not working and you might die that night. But this beggar that you had such a low inferior attitude about, like he's nothing, he's a beggar, I'm not giving him nothing, he's a sneaky hustler, he's only trying to survive. But meanwhile you about to die, you might die this night on the expressway. And he says, can I help you? But in your open mind you say, I'm going to give him $1. You're the opposite person now. You're the person that says, I'm going to have empathy. This is where gratitude comes. Empathy comes in there following gratitude. You say, I'm going to have empathy for him. I'm going to give him $1. But then he says, your wiper is broke. You might have an accident on the expressway. Let me fix it. So he comes with gifts. He comes with skills. He takes the wiper off the right side and put it on the left side, and take the wiper off the left side and put it on the right side. And now you can see. He now just made it safe for you. But then too, under your car, you have the flap that holds your gas, your oil pan, and the flap has fallen. And now you hear it rubbing on the street. And he says, oh, by the way, I have this hanger. I can lift your flap up so that you don't tear your flap up, because that costs X amount of dollars, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So let me fix that while I'm at it. And so now he saved you some money, and now he saved your life. And now all you were going to give him was $1, but he just saved your life. No, that was my situation. I gave him $100.
Oh, wow.
I said, thank you, my brother. God sent you this night. I could have died. God sent you. So here's $100 for your blessing. So in gratitude, you never know. You never know who comes upon you. You never know that God sent them. So when someone comes to you and asks for a handout, don't be that person that says, no, he's nothing. I'm not going to give him doubt. See it as someone that God sent and tested you. Tested your gratitude.
That's a great point, because God is always sending people to us.
To test us.
To test us, to grow us, to give us a mirror. Yes. To give us an opportunity to actually reflect on where we are in our own goodness, or where we need to become a little bit more generous, right? A little bit more generous.
Yes. Let me tell you one other story on that, so you get real clear how gratitude create favor. I go to my barber. And my barber, I go to him every so often to kind of get spruced up a little bit, try to be for the G to the Q. And so my barber, when he gives me a haircut, I was in this chair this one day, and the brothers were in there. And I kind of spoke on it while I was giving the brother the tip. Now, the haircut was $40. I gave the brother $55, because they say you should give at least 15%. Well, 15% of 40 is $12. And so I said, no, let me sprinkle a little on top of that, a little dressing on top of the 12. So I gave him 15. And I said, this is the shop of the GQ. This is the GQ shop. I say, all the brothers in this shop, I know they take care of their barbers real good, because the barbers have them looking like $1 million. I say, every brother in here who's getting a haircut, I know you do your barber real well and give him at least a 20% tip. I know you give him at least 3 times what the average person may give him. Is that true, my brothers? I got the sound of a churchyard mouse. The barbers, they say, speak up, apostle, speak up. I say, my brothers, when one give us service, we must show gratitude, because then we get great favor. On that day where you might have an important event to go to and you need your barber to get you straight, and you call and your barber saying, no, I'm too busy for you. But if you was that same brother that blessed him through the seasons, he'd say, oh, I got a little extra time for my brother because my brother knows about the law of gratitude, the principles of gratitude. So I'm gonna sprinkle some gratitude on him by making him GQ for this event. So gratitude is one of the waterings that we need to learn how to do if we're going to have an amazing garden of life.
Wonderful. We're going to take a little break right now, and then we'll come back and go through. We're already halfway through the show.
No,
So,
we're not.
yes, we are,
That's
Dr.
it.
Hoppy. Yeah, so we're going to take a little break and then come right back, and we'll continue our conversation about the principles of Solomon. Thank you.
Mommy teaches the young ninja, teaches him to be cool. Mommy teaches the young ninja, teaches him to take a breath. Mommy teaches the young ninja, teaches him to be cool, teaches him to have a rest. Mommy teaches the young ninja, teaches him to be cool, teaches him to do his best. Mommy teaches the young ninja, teaches him to be cool, teaches him to ace his test. Mommy teaches the young ninja, teaches him to be cool, teaches him to trust himself. Mommy teaches the young ninja, teaches him to be cool, teaches him to choose good food. Mommy teaches the young ninja, teaches him to be cool, teaches him to see his best. Mommy teaches the young ninja, teaches him to be cool. Mommy teaches the young ninja.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so glad that you're here with us as we're talking with Dr. Happy and we're looking at the principles of Solomon. So, Dr. Happy, we're going to move on to talk about the actual. Can you hear me, Doc?
I can.
Okay. Let's talk about reciprocity. Let's talk about now. It connects to gratitude, but where does reciprocity come in, especially in our community and in the principles of wealth and the principles of Solomon?
Reciprocity is a very powerful principle that we have not been taught very well. This particular principle is a principle that it deals with energy. It deals with energy. All of these principles, they deal with energy. And the energy creates a mental framework in the person's mind who you reciprocate back to, as well as the reciprocation of what you create in the energy of what you when you reciprocate. So when reciprocation is the opposite of receiving. So when a person receives any blessing, just like when I go to my barber gives me a haircut, he's not per se expecting a tip, but in the reciprocity, there was a value to that haircut beyond the haircut. The haircut was the service, but the reciprocity was the relationship that was created from that service. So reciprocity is creating a loop. It creates a loop. And there's this word they say, people make the world go round. Well, they make the world go round in the reciprocation. Just like if I did something for you and then you did something for me, not me even expecting you to do something for me, but that you did something for me, then I would want to do something for you again. And then you would want to do something for me again. Let me bring it a different kind of way in an example. When we deal with holidays, holidays is a reciprocity principle. Someone give you a gift, you give them a gift back. Now it might not be the gift that you wanted, but they gave you something back, not saying what you gave them was more expensive than what they gave you, but that in the intention of the giving and the intention of the receivership, there was an energy. It's this energy that we lack. We lack this energy as a people because we didn't understand this word reciprocity. We understood the word to receive. We understood that quite well. If you go anywhere, you have people that can have their hands out. This is where we have faltered. They brought us into the reciprocity. They brought us into the receivership of the least. They taught us how to accept the least. And then they taught us how not to reciprocate so that we could get the most. In the receivership, if we look at what Trump is doing, we look at the lack of services that will be provided in food and in health and even perhaps in housing. Trump could pull another Trump card and say, I'm going to take housing away from the people now. And so in reciprocity, we have to understand that as we receive and then we give back, that receiving and giving has to become bigger and bigger. And that's why when you see those who are wealthy, you see their names on buildings. You see like the University of Chicago, and you see the name of alumni who went there and they made a lot of wealth. And when they died, they left it to one of the buildings and they named that building after the wing of that person that gave billions into that university. That's reciprocity at a higher level. But at a lower level, reciprocity is someone does something for you. Like in our community, we have a community where we know how to grow prosperity. And so we have a person in our community, her name is Amawi, and she helps everyone that comes into that community. And I said, if she has taken her valuable time to help you, did you at least say, can I buy you a dinner? Can I pay for your car, a full tank of gas? Can I put something on your food bill, your gas bill? Can I give you a couple $100? So reciprocity is the giving back. When someone does something for you, when they give something to you, give something back. Show, if not in action, to at least ask them, is there anything I can do for you? Just like when the postman deliver your mail the whole year through the rain and the snow and the sleet. Do you have an envelope for him at the end of the year? Here's for Christmas. Here's something. Do a little something. Take your family out for dinner. So that's reciprocity. We have to look at the value that we can share if we understand what we have to give. And so it's more the giving than the receiving. We have to move out of the receiving mindset and move into the giving mindset. And that's the mindset where favor will soar for you.
One of the comments is Vieta says Section 8 housing benefits are maybe taken away, right? It's time to buy land collectively. Now, that would go back to that first principle. If we're actually dealing with, putting away 10%, and we collectively come together with the 10% that we've collected, we can actually put together enough money, to buy land with a community of people. What do you think of that, Doc?
That is absolutely right. That's why we deal with the first principle. See, if you don't have the first principle, we talk all day about what we need to do. But if we can't rub two nickels together, it's a fallacy of our mind. Because our mind has not been developed in planning. And planning deal with principles. And if you don't have principles, principle planning create policy. We have to create our own policy of our future existence. And that policy have to come from the collective. The collective, all us coming together with the same mindset, which I spoke of earlier, that this is what Solomon did. This is why his people were prosperous, because they did first save and came together and built. And so this is what we must do if we are collectively, mentally, intentionally planning our way out of the dilemma that we see coming at us. See, this is not just us having a conversation on this podcast. This is a conversation based on what is happening in our reality socially right now that will be affecting millions of people.
So that takes us into stewardship, Doc, because that's what we have to do. We have to become stewards of our funding, and you talked about being more generous, but part of it is that we're spending frivolously, right? We're not inside of the vision for the future. So to be good stewards, what does that look like? So we've saved our funds, and we've applied reciprocity, we've had gratitude. So where does stewardship come into this as far as wealth?
Stewardship is a mentoring. It's a mentoring of how do we now put it all together? How do we put it all together? For those of us who have been on this track, we've been in this journey for a minute. And in this journey, we came across the path of those as we were thinking about the future. And thinking about the future, how do we want our future to show up? The ancestors were very much into prosperity. They gleamed prosperity. If you see all the gold that was around them, they gleamed the prosperity. So in our stewardship, we now have to mentor those who do not have prosperity. We have to mentor those who do not and have not embraced these principles. We have to mentor those who need the vehicles to grow their prosperity. We have to mentor those who are ready to soar. We have to mentor those who do not want the same life they've had, do not want a lesser life than they have had, even if their life had been to the most basic level. The people who live off a few $100s a month on food stamps and food and housing vouchers, that is on the low end of the stick. That's on the low end of existence. That's like you're begging to barely survive. No, in stewardship, we teach you, if you're ready, we teach you how to take that seed of that beginning little money that one must save from Solomon, from the first principle. We teach you how to put that on the wings of a falcon and grow that prosperity into a bountiful harvest of resources from the financial side, so that in 1 year you're already out of the danger of desperation of survival. In 2 years, you are already at a level where you can fund a community, where you can create the land as well as the buildings in 2 years. In 3 years, you can create a whole campus, a $1 billion campus in 3 years, if you understand these principles and you are a true seeker. See, in these principles, we're only looking for people who are seekers, seekers to be stewarded, seekers to be mentored. We're looking for seekers not just of the prosperity of the wealth, but the prosperity of health, because that is the first prosperity in our world. The prosperity of health is the prosperity that every day I wake up, my breath of life is stronger. Every day I wake up, my physical is feeling far more vital. Every day I wake up, my mind is sharper. Every day I wake up, I soar like the falcons, and I bring the vitality to myself, to my family, to my garden, to my community. I step into the phoenix rising out of the ashes. That's where we are right now. We are the phoenix in the ashes, being consumed and burned up, because we don't have the plan. We have the plan.
Well,
are you the seeker who's ready to be rescued and become a hero and shero of yourself, your family, and our community?
Absolutely, Doc. And I know for a fact, because I grew up on 53rd and Prairie on welfare with food stamps, with no parents to really support my vision for my life. Who is this? The female solution says, teach, preach, Baba Happy. Absolutely. And I have traveled the world. I've been able to create my own fund from energy. I can say that, probably one of the most generous people in my life has been you with your knowledge, your healing. I mean, really helping to ground the energy of what we're talking about today has been so insightful and useful in my life. And that's why I wanted to really bring this forward so that everybody could hear that you can start from nothing.
Nothing. 5 cents.
And still
start from 5 cents.
Yes. In the willingness, are you willing to be a seeker? Are you willing to be a steward and be taught?
Yes. If you look at my life, Moot, if you look at my life, all you see is prosperity all around me.
Yes.
From the breath I take, to the moment I walk out into my garden, to the moment I walk out into my courtyard, to the moment I walk out to smell my flowers, to the moment I walk out to see my vegetables growing vitally. All of this is prosperity. All of this is wealth. And we must take this and we must raise our families up in it. We must raise our community. God is waiting on us.
Yes. I think we did an injustice when we made people think that cash is king, when
That's
actually
That's
God,
right. It's
God
just a force. It's a tool. We
is
have to use it like we use all our other tools, but we
that's
haven't learned how to use it like a tool because
yes.
we spend frivolously. We buy stuff we don't even need and we take ourselves into debt we don't even have to go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's management. That's one of the aspects of a good steward. You learn how to manage what you have, and you learn how to always, with whatever you have, take a little bit and put it to the side like Solomon so you can grow it into a mountain of prosperity on all the levels, not just in your social surroundings of the the convenience and the prosperity around you, but in your body temple. In
Yes.
your body temple. What good is money if you are sick? If you are sick, if you are suffering, what good is money? So we have to understand all these tools and multiply from there.
Yeah. And then this last one, Doc, delayed gratification. How does that fit into the principles of Solomon in building our wealth and using that seed that
Now,
we first started with?
now I'm glad you asked, Moot, because delayed gratification is only sacrifice. See, sacrifice is something we haven't learned how to do. We haven't learned how to embrace it. We must embrace sacrifice. Once we understanding that embracing sacrifice, when we have a plan in front of sacrifice. See, to sacrifice by itself is not good, but to sacrifice with a plan in front of us to take the little bit that we have, that in Solomon's principle, we took that little bit. Now that little bit might have been, I'm going to go buy me a new dress. Okay, well, that dress only costs $150. But no, we could have went to Salvation Army and got it dressed. It might have been a little used, but we got it for $6. We took the 144 and we dropped it to the side in Solomon's principle. And then we did some other things so that within the next couple of months, we were sitting on $1,000. We said, where did the money came from? It came from sacrifice. It came from I sacrifice over here. In a bigger picture, Moot, that's someone who could go and buy a new car. But instead of buying a new car, they bought a used car and they saved that extra money. Or that's that person that instead of buying the car, they rode on the L and the buses for X amount of time with that money that they would be paying for the mortgage or paying for the car. They now had that $1,000 put to the side. And now that $1,000 inside of 1 year grew to $111,000. That $1,000 in 18 months grew to $1.2 million. That $1,000 in 2 years grew to $12 million. You tell me we can't deal with delayed gratification as sacrifice to be able to get what we want? Even if you wanted to buy a house, you have to put some money to the side. You have to move into principle of Solomon. So we have not benefited from understanding the benefit of sacrifice, which is delayed gratification. Because now, once we grow the prosperity, whatever we wanted, we can have 10 of them, 100 of them, 1,000 of them. But we must deal with these principles first and always to grow prosperity in one's physical life as one social life, as one's community life.
Doc, I want to read a couple of comments, okay? We're getting towards the end of the show, so I want to let you know that people are listening. So Cinabella says, the seekers of stewardship rise like a falcon. God is waiting on us. That's a beautiful thought. And then Zelda says, oh my God, the master himself, Dr. Hapi, shares his wisdom. My girlfriend, Effie Rofi, introduced me to him years ago. Ashe. Do you remember that name, Effie? Effie Rofi, Doc?
Absolutely wonderful, sister. Wonderful.
Yes.
Hey, Effie.
No, that was
Get up
Zelda.
there.
That was Zelda talking
Oh, I
about.
see.
That was Zelda talking about Effie. She said Effie introduced you to her
Oh,
years
okay.
ago.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So Doc, you
Yeah.
introduced me to a book many years ago. Oh, Cinabella says, listening intently. You introduced me to a book years ago, maybe been 20 years ago, called um, The Brother of the Third Degree. Do you remember that book, Doc? The Brother of the
Yes.
Third Degree.
Yes.
All right. So we have a few more minutes and then you can get on with your day. I know you have 1,000 things to do.
Yes.
So let's talk about the brother of the third degree.
That book was an amazing book. It was an amazing book. Now, when we deal with books, we're really talking about a secret society of spiritual enlightenment. The brother of the third degree was an extraordinary individual in the book, and he was a seeker of the super society. He was a seeker of an enlightened society that planned and had the life that was the best life you could have. This particular brother had the understanding of the teachings whereby all the ones who came up under his guidance had the greatest life they could ever have. And the understanding of the esoteric knowledge and teachings was shared with these people. Now, we live in a society that most of the knowledge that we receive, we call it exoteric, EXO, which means is the knowledge of the masses. And that knowledge will not serve us well. That knowledge will not bring us into prosperity. That knowledge will give us the life that you see the masses suffering with. But in this enlightened society that this brother shared the knowledge with, all the people in that society were elevated. They were of their highest being, of becoming and of developing, so that as they moved to the time, it was the divinity of God that gave them the greatest life. So we pose the question, do we deserve that life? Do we deserve as a society to have the greatest life, to have all that we could ever ask for that God could give us? Do we deserve that? So to receive that, we must step on the esoteric side, the side of the knowledge of knowing how to take care of these body temples we have so they can become more vital. The knowledge of being able to download the knowledge so our minds will not step into dementia, where our minds will grow even greater and stronger, and we can be the wise ones to lead our children and our grandchildren into the greater life of the future without all this turbulence of the AIs and the robots coming to take our jobs. And so in this enlightenment, this brother gave the blueprint, and all those that followed grew into this spectacular, wonderful life that we all deserve. So yes, that I read that book. That brother inspired me greatly, Moot. And that is the book we all need to read if we are to understand that there is a life that we could have, but that life must be totally away from the life that we see in our society, because that life is a life of desperation. That life is a life of desperation, of survival. And from that, it brings all the violence. It brings all the suffering, all the bullets, all the madness, all the nightmares in the daytime in our communities. So we say we must soar above that, and we can only do that when we move to the esoteric, and we teach our youngsters how to be in the divine mind of the higher self, and how to move into the gracefulness of peace and social justice, as well as social justice among and at each other, so that we're not talking about them over there. Those police are bothering us. The Trumpsters, all the Trump troops and all that. If we are in order, there would not be a need for them to even be there. So we must bring ourselves into this higher level of being that only our esoteric awareness of ourselves can direct and lead us into that direction very successfully, with great confidence.
That's right, Doc. In my teaching, when I started teaching my young men back 30 something years ago, and one of the first things that I taught them was how to be invisible to the police.
Yes.
Like, and then I taught them security. I mean, you don't have to be out there, flaunting, and just being an obstacle to anything.
Yes.
And according to universal principles, what you resist persist.
Yes.
What you focus on, right? What you focus on is going to continue. So we have people protesting as though that's going to make something go away, when it's just going to make more of it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Moot, as you know, being the master teacher of Master Force, that you have shared the knowledge with the people of many, many years, quite generously. You deserve so much reciprocity. You deserve 10,000 roses.
Thank you.
10,000 roses with $100 in each one of them.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Doc. Now, before I get all of that, I want to make sure that we talk about one more book, because anytime you get money unexpectedly or you haven't planned for it, sometimes you can lose it real quick. This is what happened to people when they win the lottery. 3 to 5 years later, the money is gone.
Scottie Pippen, the famous basketball player, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Money gone because he didn't have the understanding of wealth. He didn't have. So share. Tell me about.
I want you to talk about the book, another book that you told me about, Sudden Wealth. Sudden Wealth, Doc.
Okay.
Right? And you can get both of these books you can get off of, Amazon, whatever. But Sudden Wealth, you have to get prayer. You got to prepare
this book,
for that.
Everybody needs this book. If everybody's going to be on the path toward prosperity, and we want everyone to be on the path towards prosperity, because if you are not on this path towards prosperity, you are in a rut. You're living from paycheck to paycheck, just about $4 above broke. And if you got fired tomorrow, your life would be in a turmoil of turbulence that would move you to desperation in less than a month. So this book, Sudden Wealth, is a book that gives you a roadmap. And this book tells you of all the pitfalls that could happen if you were growing into prosperity, if money was flowing from the sky, pouring from the sky, from God, if you were receiving it. And we already have the blueprint to help you receive that. But in receiving it, you need to be up on this book, Sudden Wealth, so that you can hold on to it and grow it. And in this book, they tell all of what you need to do. The author name is Robert Pellegrini. And you, if you put that up in the chat or wherever
I have it. Yeah, it's flowing through, Doc. They can
Robert
see it.
Pellegrini.
Yes.
That book, that's one of the books, Moot. That's one of the books. But there's another book. And we didn't even talk about this book, Moot. But some people might have heard of this book. This book is called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yes, that's one of my favorites. Yes, Doc. Yes.
Who is that by, Moot? Who is that by?
I can see it in my head. What's his name? I can't remember, Doc. I can see it. I have it in my book.
Okay. It's gonna come. It's gonna come.
Yes, but Rich Dad Poor Dad is one of my favorite. Robert Kawasaki.
See, I was waiting on you to see that Robert was the first clue
Wait,
because it
somebody
was a
wrote
Robert.
it in. Wait, the
We had
female.
already left Robert. I
Right,
said, I'm gonna see if
yes.
she's in the association in
It's 9
the
o'clock.
file. Because you pull it up from the file, from
Right.
the mental file. But yes,
Yes.
Robert
Right.
Kawasaki,
Yeah.
he was an islander from Hawaii, and his father was a professor. So being in the knowledge, being a professor, you would think his father would be prosperous, but those two words don't go together. You could be a professor with a job. So his father was just above broke, but his friend had a father who was an entrepreneur, very wise, and his friend taught him the principles that I speak to you now. He taught him the principles of Solomon. First, save you some money. You can't do anything until you first put some money to the side. And then he taught him about buying houses and taught him about entrepreneurship. And he managed grocery stores, and he took the stewardship of his friend's father. And now he's worth about $300 million.
Yes, Doc. Thank you. Thank you. We have one final comment, and then we have to wrap up. She says, wow, blown away by this teaching today. Thank us, united spirits. We are united spirits. That's who we are in the female solution.
Let me drop this last moment on you.
What, Doc?
Let me leave with this last moment.
Okay.
Because sisters are of feelings. They are the masters of the feelings. They are the tempest, the priestess in the house. Mm-hmm. And so they are the administrators of the money. So when money comes into the house, it must be given to the goddess. Give your money. I'm talking to you brothers. Give that money to the goddess, because she will hold on to it for hard times. She'll be able to put a two and few together and have a meal. So give that check to her. Because I know the brothers, they are frivolous. They will go and throw dollars and spend money and buy toys and leave the household in a desperation. So the goddesses, they are the administrators of the money. Give them that check and watch your prosperity in your family grow. Because if they're using the principles of Solomon, the phoenix is rising.
All right, Doc. We'll leave it on that note. Thank you so much. I hope you'll come back again and share with us. And I hope you have a lovely day. We really appreciate you. We honor you, and thank you so much for your gift today.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me, Mood. You know, it's such a pleasure always to be in your present, because you're always dropping. It's almost like a golden goose. If a goose was golden and everybody say, follow that goose, she's gonna be dropping golden eggs. That is you, Mood. You're golden. But instead of a goose, you're a golden angel. You're a golden angel because you're dropping words of wisdom that leads to great levels of prosperity. See, once we understand what prosperity is, we really, really, really don't. But once we do, we will have a thriving community. And the stewardship will not be wasted. And our children will honor us.
Yes.
In the future.
Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome, Mood.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiabonga. Senegal, jaref. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.